Welcome back to What Would You Ask podcast. My next guest, man, you talk about inventors, right? And people that create things, and I wish I was creative. I couldn't create anything. This guy not only created SkyRide, which we're going to talk about in depth, and brought it to Shark Tank. And we're going to talk about that experience as well with Scotty in a second. But I gotta tell you, he invented rollerblades. I mean, who didn't have a pair of rollerblades? I was just talking to Scott before we came on. I played hockey. As soon as I found rollerblades, I didn't do anything else. We shoveled the driveway to play in rollerblades, and it was just, it was the best thing since sliced bread, as they say. And now he's got SkyRide, which I just read in something that Brody gave to me, that it's on Carnival Cruise Lines as one of their things, which I want to talk about, see if that's true. I don't know. We didn't get to validate it and make it, see if it's valid, but we're going to talk about it. And you know what we're talking about. That infrastructure, you got the main, capsule you sit in, and you could either row or you can ride, and it just takes you around. And so from a fitness standpoint, that's one application, but you could look at it as, getting into municipalities and start going overhead, right? And not have to deal with traffic. And then, like we just said, what a great ride for a cruise line to have on. They got all this other stuff. So anyway, he was on the ABC hit show Shark Tank season 3, episode 13. And I'm excited about having Scott Olsen with us. Welcome to What Would You Ask podcast, Scott.
Great to be here. Greetings from Lake Vermilion, northern Minnesota, land of 10,000 soon to be frozen lakes.
It looks beautiful today. At least it's a beautiful day there.
Yeah, no, it's always beautiful in Minnesota. There's just a lot of space, a lot of quietness, and a lot of nature. But no, it's a privilege to be on talking to you about what I've been doing, and particularly the Shark Tank experiences, which is the reason you got a hold of me. And like you said, that goes back to like season number 1 or season number 2.
Yeah.
You said?
Yeah.
And I guess I should be lucky to get on that program because it's a big hit now.
Oh, it sure is. Before we jump into the journey, tell us a little bit, give us a couple minutes on the development creation of rollerblades.
Well, I got lucky early on in my entrepreneurial skills, background back in what year was that? 79. Not too long after I graduated from high school. I was a hockey guy. That's really what got me thinking and dreaming about being able to move around the country on wheels versus ice skates. And I got lucky up in Canada where I was playing hockey out of high school and got turned on to them by seeing a picture in the hockey news. You probably remember that, being an old hockey guy yourself.
I do.
And came home and tracked down a pair of the old Ralph Backstrom skates that were made out in LA at the time. And he had a hard time selling them. I started selling them and became a big party for me, actually, because I just started rolling all over town. And being in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the hockey capital of the world at that time, and still is maybe, I had hockey guys, jumping on them left and right. And that's what really got the idea off the ground, was really the whole hockey mentality. That was back in, like I said, late 70s. The Olympics had just finished up. And so a lot of the kids, a lot of us guys were trying to get those jobs in that NHL and try to take them away from the Canadians. So we were working harder than the Canadians. And so the inline skates at that time, which soon became rollerblades, which is what I came up with. That was my brand, my trademark. So I really take credit for really not inventing the inline skate, but for starting the rollerblade company and really getting out and hustling it like every great product you got to do. No matter how good it is, you got to get out and hustle it. And that's what I did. And that's why I say it was a big party for me, because I was just skating like a dream wherever I wanted to go. So hopefully that kind of summarizes
Oh, it's perfect.
my
That's
startup
perfect.
of the rollerblades.
I also read that the rollerblades, the wheels of the rollerblades, are used in part of the manufacturing of SkyRide. Is that true?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, so now you want to jump into the SkyRide and
Sure.
bypass my road bike invention and my
Oh,
switchblade inventions.
jeez. We only have a
But
half
that's
hour,
fine.
Scott.
No, like you said, we only got 20 minutes here. Plus, I'm going fishing in about 25 minutes,
All right.
but that can wait. But well, the SkyRide, that was a vision of mine that I've had for many years. Really being able, and you were kind of describing it earlier, but I like to sum it up where I'm combining the fitness industry to the roller coaster industry, and or the amusement ride industry, and more specifically the roller coaster. And so that's where I started working on it, and obviously all my stuff kind of revolves around wheels, and so one thing led to another. We're using old rollerblade wheels to use up in the drive system, because the SkyRideTechnology.com, as you look at it, you'll see it rides inside a track. The SkyRide does, and so we got a lot of wheels in there that are keeping everything true, and trying to keep things as fast and as smooth as possible. So we got a lot of different wheels, but some of them are rollerblade wheels.
So, what brought this dream to become a Shark Tank, potential Shark Tank investment for the Sharks? What did you have an idea that was the place to go? Did your reputation, by the way, precede you? A better question, I think, is did people know you being the inventor of rollerblades specifically? Did you get the hey, listen, whatever this guy's got, let's check it out kind of thing, or was it a tough road for you to even get on the air?
Yeah, exactly how we got on the air. I had a young guy by the name of Adam Myers. He was kind of heading up the SkyRide idea, and that was kind of my goal. Was I basically wanted to invent it, get it in the media, make it look sexy and as fast and as exciting as possible, and then let somebody run with it. So this Adam kid came on board and got it going from a marketing standpoint, and they went to Shark Tank. I didn't even know about Shark Tank at the time, because I don't really watch TV. And he came to me and said, "Hey, we're going to be on Shark Tank." And I said, "Great, do whatever you got to do it." And I just don't want to be the guy going on the show, because he told me it was a show out in LA. And I really don't like going to LA that much. So I told him, it's all up to you, go for it. And the whole process and the whole background check that they did on Adam, and the company, they soon found out I was the rollerblade guy, because we pitched that in our products, or my products. We got to do it. I don't like to rely on my past products, but at the same time, if I can use that to kind of get into the door, we'll do it. But I like to think that the SkyRide is the star of the show, so that's what we're really promoting. Long story short, after about 6-7 months of going through the whole process of getting on the show, he got X'd out of it, because the background check that they do on you is so extensive that he had spent 1.5 years, 2 years playing in Finland, and they couldn't background him over in Finland. So they said, we can't have you on the show. We got to have Scott now. So then Adam comes to me and says, well, you got to be on the show. And then at that point, I had to do it for the team. So I said, okay, I'll go out to LA and do this deal. And next thing I know it, I'm out in LA. And it's after about 8-9 months of getting everything accepted and getting my background checked, checked out. They finally approved us, and I fly out to LA, and we hang out. And next thing I know it, after being there for about a week, they finally get us on the set, and I'm getting ready to take my do the shoot, and then they call me in. I'm just on deck too, and considering I was going to be one of the first guys to go, I was hoping to get there and get out on Monday or Tuesday at the latest, and only spend a couple of days in LA. And then here it's Friday. They're getting me on deck, and they come to me and they said, "Well, we got a problem with you. Your background check didn't come up very good. Back in high school, you had gotten in trouble." And I said, "You got to be kidding me, And I'm talking, the high school, that was like, could have been 35, 40 years ago,
Yeah.
So I was kind of upset, and I was kind of irritated for hanging out longer than I wanted to in LA. And then, so it's Friday. I was going to just head home, but a buddy of mine out in LA called me up, said, "Come on over." And so I spent the weekend and calmed down a little bit Monday, got in, finally got to do the shoot. And it was great because, apparently the sharks, they don't know what your background is. And they don't really know anything about your product until you come out on the set.
Right.
And then when I introduced myself, well, anyhow, we'll get into that. If you, I'll come back to you if you got any questions on that.
Yeah. So it seemed like when you came in, and you didn't use that trump card of rollerblades right off the bat. You introduced it, SkyRide, like you said, you wanted that to be the focus. And then it just came up in conversation in the Q&A with the Sharks. And by the way, I thought it was interesting that you went in with the $3 million for 20% proposition for those guys. A lot of them liked it. Mark liked it. Damon liked it. They just didn't see where they fit in the business. I found that I thought that was pretty cool that they would be. I thought immediately some of them would have been dismissive. But when you did mention rollerblades, instant credibility. Did you get a sense of that? Because it certainly played that way on the air.
Well, yeah, they were kind of taken back a little bit, mainly because they're like saying, well, why do you need us then?
Right.
And all the money in the world, being the rollerblade inventor, and it's like, well, and it was almost like the producer was sitting there telling these guys, "Don't let the guy off the set until you find out, how much money he's got," because that's basically what they're asking me. And you don't see all of that in the final production, but each one of them came and nailed me. Well, you got the money, why don't you do it, to do with what I'm doing right now. And I wouldn't tell them. I didn't, but they didn't give up on it. It was crazy. And I was basically kind of laughing at them. And so finally they got off it. And so, yeah, that was kind of funny. And at the same time, well, I'm trying to think what happened after that, but you might know because you've watched it recently.
So Barbara kind of dismissed it a little bit. She didn't see it being a viable business, which doesn't make sense to me at all. Damon liked it. As I said, he just didn't know how he would fit in. Mark likes it. And then Mark started talking about it being a lot of construction knowledge, and he's not a construction guy. And I was wondering at the time, Mark, $3 million to him is not a lot of money. And for most of those guys, from an investment standpoint, they would, they've done $1 million investments in the past. But Robert, I thought he would love that. He always likes, crazy stuff, but he didn't see the consumer application for it. And then Mr. Wonderful was kind of the same way. He just was like up in the air about it being a viable business. What do you do? And like you said, Scott, we see an edited version. What were the questions about? What was it? What were they mainly, aside from figuring more about rollerblades, what did they want to know about SkyRide that we didn't see maybe?
Well, they were really hung up about I think they were thinking it was more of a backyard deal. I think
Right.
is what they were kind of thinking, if I'm not mistaken. And I pitched it more as a like our low-hanging fruit was basically ski resorts.
Yes.
Ski resorts are trying to get entertainment. They want to be the next, Six Flags or whatever it is, the next amusement park. And so that's why I thought I had a really good pitch, that we had a human-powered roller coaster going up and down the mountain. And so that's what I was really pitching. But on the edited version, they were thinking it was more of a backyard thing, which I still think that it still can be a great backyard entertainment for the guy that wants the Tesla fitness, where they get out their deck and rip around and get a workout in their backyard. It doesn't have to go a mile. If it goes 200-300 feet is enough excitement to keep you going for a good workout. So so what the other questions, I'm trying to think about it, what the other questions were, but
and did you get a sense that, first of all, did you have a preference which shark you actually wanted to get a deal with? And if you didn't, did you see anybody that you thought was kind of getting the story and getting the message, or were they just not getting it?
They weren't. I don't think it didn't really matter to me who was going to buy into it.
Yeah.
And my philosophy is I treat everybody the same. I didn't even do any homework on these people. I just showed up pitching it like I'd be pitching to anybody on the street. And at the same time, if they didn't want to buy into my valuation, I wasn't going to go there because I didn't need them anyhow.
Yeah.
So, if somebody would have said, hey, here's the money, I'm in, I guess would have taken the last guy standing or the last woman standing. But at the same time, I didn't need it. And so that in the end, nobody bought into it, as you know.
Yeah. So tell us what's going on with SkyRide today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, luckily we got Carnival showed up knocking on my door one day and wanted to look at it. And I told my guy that took the call, my guy that was running the company, he took the call and said, hey, Carnival's coming out next week. They want to look at it. And I said, well, they can't come out next week because we're not ready for them. Because about a week before that, we had somebody come onto my property and vandalize all my rides that I spent 2 years developing, 2 years of a lot of money, a lot of work making these prototypes to look like they're new. But this guy that was working for me said, hey, no, we can make it work. We'll make it work. And I said, yeah, if you feel that strongly about it, do it. So as I was leaving the driveway, Carnival was driving in because I didn't want to be there because I just agonized over the idea that somebody's on the ride and it's not working the way I wanted it to be. Right. But that's just me. But at the same time, they came in and my coworker called me up later in the day, said, hey, they're going to buy into it. They want it. And that was kind of our savior, because at that point, after working this thing for many, many years on my own time, but working it hard, I was thinking about maybe it was time to move on to something else. So the timing was good. And they bought into it 2 years later. It took us 2 years to get it onto the ship because they put it on a brand new ship. The ship wasn't ready, luckily, and neither were we. Yeah. So we got it engineered. We put it on the ship, and it became a hit to the point where people were booking the Vista Carnival ship just to ride that thing.
Jeez, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So where can everybody that wants to check this out, where should they head? Should they go to skyride.com? Where should we go to check out SkyRide?
Yeah, definitely skyride.com. And definitely if they're ever in Minneapolis, they want to come out and go for a ride, give us a holler, come on out to the farm, take it for a ride. And if they want to get involved in it, great, because I'm looking to kind of reinvent it to get it to the next level. So I'm working on that. And we're on 3 Carnival cruise ships. That's been kind of keeping us busy. And now I want to try to take it to the next level.
That's awesome. Well, Scott, listen, thanks for the time today. We appreciate what you've done, the creations, the inventions. It's awesome. I mean, the stuff you invent is just awesome. And so thanks for the time. Best of luck with SkyRide, and we'll talk soon, I hope.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks for having me. Have a great night.
All right, you too. We'll be back with What Would You Ask podcast in a second.